Hello there, welcome to Checking In with Lashings. I'm here with Scott Charlton, the voice of Lashings for 18 years or so. How's it going, Scotty?
Yeah, good, mate, good.
You okay in lockdown? Family all okay?
Yeah, got my head around it now. It's a bit like a prison sentence, isn't it? You know, you just got to get your head down, get through it. Once it's done, we'll all be healthy. We're going to have a hell of a party.
I know, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, maybe end of this season, we'll get some cricket. But whether we do or not, next season's going to be a bumper one. We've got a good one today. We've got Charl Willoughby with us.
Hello.
He's joining us now. There he is.
Hey, Charl. How are you, mate?
How's it going? Good to see you guys. It's been a while.
So, Charl, how's everything going in lockdown? How are the kids and the family, everyone holding up okay?
Yeah, I think we're all a bit bored of it now. Yeah, I mean, the beginning was, okay, well, this is it. This is interesting. Now it's just like, when is this going to end? But yeah, we all good. You know, luckily, we've got a little bit more freedom in some countries, so we are able to get out and about and have a bottle of wine every now and again. So yeah, it's all good.
Excellent. Well, it's great to see you, and thank you for joining us today. Pity, we should have been playing our first Lashings game of the season tomorrow. That would have been our first game this season, so we can't see you in person. So this is pretty much the next best thing, and it's great to actually catch up in this way and actually talk to you about your career and your time with Lashings. So just for everyone tuning into this, I'm going to go through a few stats. So hopefully we've got this right. Correct me if I'm wrong. 848 first-class wickets at an average of under 26. In South Africa, you played for Boland and Western Province and Cape Cobra. And in this country, you played for Leicestershire, that great time you had with Somerset, which we'll touch on later, and also played Test match cricket and one-day international cricket for South Africa. So a tremendous career. We'll talk through some highlights in a moment or two, but I think, Scotty, you wanted to touch on Lashings first. Charles,
well, yeah, because I mean, you've been involved with this for a little while now, but I'm always intrigued. We've done a couple of interviews already, but I'm always intrigued with how did you first hear about Lashings? And what was the word?
I played against Lashings. Their tour to South Africa when I was at the Cape Cobras. They had a day-night match against us. I can't remember the results of the game, but you know, during my time of playing club cricket here in the UK and professional cricket, eventually, you know, I always knew what was going on with Lashings. A few of my mates had played for them, and when I played against the Lashings at Newlands, it sort of brought it to the front that hopefully one day when I was finished my career that I'd be able to play. One thing I do remember about that game at Newlands was I had to do this race against Mark Richardson, the slowest people in the world of cricket, and I lost to him. But I still to this day think I'm quicker than him. But he psyched me out before the race had even started. I was like a nervous wreck. But yeah, it was good fun. And then when my career ended, I reached out to Folby, seeing if I could get a few games, and he allowed me to have a few games, and that's where the journey started.
Wonderful. And I mean, now obviously at the end of your career, you don't play much club cricket anymore. Is it the only cricket you play now?
It is the only cricket I play, besides for backyard cricket with the kids, and I love it. It's absolutely a great day out. It's a great entertainment. We get together as a group of ex-professionals again. The banter in the change room is exactly the same as when we played, even though most of us have never met or played together. The banter is exactly the same. So from the perspective of an ex-pro coming into that environment again, normally when you leave that professional environment, you don't get that opportunity ever again. With Lashings, we get that opportunity to spend some time and have that team camaraderie, the banter, you know, the boyishness, etc., with those ex-pros, and they immediately become your friends. You know, people that you've looked up to and aspired to are there. They put your, you know, their arm around you as they were your mate throughout your career.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. I mean, it's wonderful to watch because we do put people in position sometimes when some of the most feared names turn up, and of course, last time people saw Courtney, he was coming in off of his full length, and you'd be rattling in your boots, whoever you were. And of course, to see the other side of that, and to see the friendship, and to see that it could only happen with cricket somehow, couldn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I remember we played a game last season at, I think it was Mangotsfield, somewhere up in the Midlands. And I was last out of the change room. I'd been talking to a few people after the game, and Courtney was the only one in the change room. So we ended up having a half-an-hour chat about his career, my career, life after cricket, life after sport, and which is surreal. I mean, when you're growing up and you see Courtney and Courtney on the TV, you never think you're going to spend a half an hour in the same change room having a chat with them. And there we did. It's amazing what sport can do, but what Lashings is doing, putting ex-professionals in the environment of club cricketers, that they can actually rub shoulders and have conversations with them.
And obviously it works from both sides. I mean, we're obviously, my background is show business, and I had a spell of success, and I know how it affected me personally. And when it stopped, I knew that I needed another outlet of some sort in order to be able to sort of make sense of it all. And it must be much the same. I mean, because literally it is that quick. When you get, I know the injuries that you've had, and I know the preparation that you go through just to play cricket, and did in at the end of your professional days as well. Perhaps you might want to talk about that. I understand if you don't. But there is plenty of reason there to suggest that the only reason that you carry on now is to enjoy it and to be back in that whole, you can't get it anywhere else. So
exactly that. I mean, club cricket, I enjoyed for a few years after the professional game, but as time went on, you know, fielding for 50 overs just became longer and longer. The skill levels also started to drop down a bit because you're not training nearly as much as you were in your pump. So, you know, club cricket started to become a real chore, where Lashings is 20-20 game. You bowl 3 or 4 overs, you catch a few balls, maybe score a few runs. Not me, other players. And it's a real pleasure to actually just get out there and play a game again that you loved. At not the highest standard, obviously, because obviously you're playing against some less competitive teams, but you're still getting out and reliving a little bit of the stuff you enjoyed on a daily basis. With regards to the batting, I've only batted twice in my entire 7 years with Lashings.
Wow.
And that just shows you the standard of players that we put out. That's number 9.
Exactly. Mushtak said, if Charl Willoughby bats, we're really in trouble.
He wasn't lying. He wasn't lying.
I just want to move on, actually, Charles. Just go back to the beginning of your cricketing life. Even from a school age, did you always have aspirations to be a professional cricketer? Not
at all. I never had any. I loved the game. I'd never had a desire to be a pro cricketer for 20 years. It just sort of happened. At school, I was a decent cricketer. I could bowl a decent pace, and being left arm, you always sort of stood out from the crowd back then. And my parents didn't have a great amount of money to send me off to university, so my dad applied for a few scholarships, just all bursaries, to see if we could get a bit of a helping hand through university. I wanted to be an accountant, and got into Stellenbosch University and played for the first team there, and suddenly got invited to a trial with Boland Cricket out of the blue, and did a right in the trial, and next thing I was playing first class cricket. 20 years later, retired without the degree. So it sort of just happened. I don't regret it happening. I loved the 20 years. In a way, there are many good accountants out there, but for the 20 years I played cricket, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Excellent. And the players that you played with and against in those early days, even from like a school or university level, is there any kind of big names that stand out?
These standouts.
Well, one that played a lot for Lashings, Herschel, and I were at school at the same time at opposing schools.
Okay.
So we used to play a lot of cricket against each other and had a good amount of healthy competition between us. I was lucky enough to spend a lot of my school career playing with Charl Willoughby. So we were at the same school together. So those are the two sort of real standouts that I was at school with, that went on to create big things in cricket throughout their careers. I was just a little minnow compared to those two, but yeah, they're still good friends, people that you can always talk to whenever you want to. And I look forward to maybe Herschel playing for Lashings again one day, because he is an absolute joy to have around. He's just a bundle of energy. But playing with and against those two is obviously a massive talking point from a school perspective. Everybody knows Herschel Gibbs and Charl Willoughby. So, watching those two grow up and the way they went about their business ultimately, rubbed off on me in the end.
So as you started to play professional cricket, firstly in South Africa and then over in the UK, who were your sort of mentors and the people that helped you drive your career forward?
Well, there was a gentleman who sadly passed away, Hilton Ackerman, Senior, H.D. Ackerman's dad. He was a big driving force in the real starting success of my career. He gave me the opportunity at Boyland. He saw something in me and started mentoring me in terms of how to go about the business of being a pro cricketer, how to get wickets, what batsmen are thinking about, and was somebody I always turned to when I needed advice during tough patches. So he was a real reason I became a successful cricketer. Got a little bit of advice from Clive Rice along the way, who sort of, when I went to the National Academy in South Africa, he taught me how to swing the ball. And that's when my career really started to change in terms of success. Prior to going to the academy, I played 4 years of professional cricket back in the early 90s, which wasn't really a professional era. And all I tried to do was just bowl as fast as I could. And at times I was reasonably quick, but, sort of medium fast most of the time. And until I learned to swing it, did my career change. So the first 4 years of my career, I think I took 47 first-class wickets in 4 years, which you think, should this guy ever be playing cricket? And I ended up with 848 in the next 16. So, 800 wickets in the next 16 versus 47 in the first 4. And I put that down to the mentorship from Hilton and learning to swing it from Clive Rice. Both of them sadly passed, but it's a big reason success started to happen for me.
Was there actually a moment in time where all of a sudden it swang and you thought, that's it, that's what I need to do?
Well, there were times before I really understood how to swing it. Even though I was playing professional cricket, nobody took me aside and said, this is how you got to swing it. There were times when the ball swung and it swung at good pace and people thought, oh, this kid's got a bit of potential. But then there were other times where it didn't swing at all. I didn't know why it didn't swing. I didn't know how to really swing it and control it. But until I went to the academy, where Clive and Hilton started really speaking to me about swinging and why it needs to swing and, how you get it to swing, what you need to do differently, etc. It was just a hit and miss. One day it would swing, one day it wouldn't. When it swung, people spoke about me. When it didn't, they used to call me, in Afrikaans terms, Willoughby, which is a wild bee. Willoughby, because the ball would just go all over the place. But days that it swung, I was reasonably good. But when I learned to swing it and learned the control that came with swinging a cricket ball, definitely there was a change in the career path.
Wow.
From a county cricket perspective, you're probably best known for your superb career at Somerset. And taking over nearly 350 wickets, first-class wickets at Somerset, and in those days, it was notoriously a real batting strip at Taunton as well. So you must be proud of your achievements there.
Yeah, by the time I got to Taunton, I was 31 years old, so I knew my game inside and out. So coming to Taunton, I knew it was going to be a flat wicket. I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I chose to go there. I chose to take on that challenge. But luckily, I did know my game. So youngsters that play there, when they don't know their game, will find it extremely difficult.
Yeah.
When you know your game inside and out, and you come across challenging situations or wickets, you need to go back to what you know best and how you go about your business. So I did have that advantage when I got there, that I knew my game inside and out. I knew what I could and couldn't do, and I knew how to get wickets. You know, I knew what was required. I knew the discipline that was required. I knew what was required of me as a person in terms of fitness and how to go about it. And that's overall how I became successful there, was just having a stubborn attitude towards going about my business in the way I knew how, and not adapting to real tough bowling conditions. And, you know, I saw many teams come to Taunton and the bowlers faced the challenge, but they only had to face it once a season. Some would fail horribly, but the experienced guys, your Matthew Hoggard, your Ryan Sidebottoms, those sort of characters, would always perform reasonably well there, because they had the same amount of knowledge in their game that you know, guys like me and Andy Caddick, Alfonso Thomas had.
So moving on then, as like you said at the start of the call, you know, when you were a kid growing up and at school, you didn't really have aspirations to play cricket professionally, and then, you know, as you said, 20 years later, but that also encompassed an international performances, international career as well, both at Test and one-day international levels. So it's a great achievement, particularly, you know, in those days, you know, the great South Africa fast bowling attack that you're in competition with for those places.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I played during some careers of great cricketers for South Africa: Sean Pollocks, Alan Donald, Lance Klusener.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are serious international bowlers, and you are, you know, trying to climb this ladder to get one of their spots, which is it's a bit of a challenge. But when my opportunity came, you know, the first game I ever played for South Africa was in 2000. I got in through an injury. Henry Williams got injured and he got flown back. They needed somebody to replace him. I got in. First game, first few balls, I was a nervous wreck. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Playing in Abu Dhabi, searing heat, you know, TV cameras everywhere. You're playing against Pakistan, noisy crowd. I was just like, whoa, this is bizarre. But you know, after the first 3 or 4 balls, Polly spoke to me, and then I realized, you know, I bowled to Jacques Callis every day. I bowled to Gary Kirsten, I bowled to Herschel Gibbs, you know, all these sort of characters, and I do get them out. So what is the big difference? So the first game I ended up doing okay. I got 2 for 39 in 10, which is not a bad debut. And then I didn't play for 3 years because for various reasons. I'm not sure why. But yeah, when I eventually did get back in, first game back was in Bangladesh. Played 3 or 4 games in Bangladesh, and then next one was in England. I never, unfortunately, got to play for South Africa in South Africa. So I didn't get to show my skills in the conditions that I only knew at the time. I'd never played county cricket.
Yeah.
So the only place I'd really played cricket was in South Africa professionally. So I never got to show my ability or skills in South Africa, which is a little bit disappointing, but probably down to my own fault, if you will. I let the nerves get the better of me during that second stint with South Africa. When it didn't go my way, I started to get, you know, in my head, get a little bit worse. And then the next game, you start clutching, you know, I can't fail. Instead of just being relaxed as I was throughout the rest of my career, you know, bad situation, you just go back to what you know best, and, you know, you just do what you know instead of fighting yourself mentally, because there's nothing wrong with my ability. It was just, well, I'm fighting myself inside, and that affects your ability.
One final question on the international side of things, and as you mentioned there, you played within the timescale of some great South African careers, you know, other players, South African fast bowlers in particular. But for you, Charl, who's the best of the bunch?
In South Africa or in
South Africa.
the world?
Yeah, South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say because they all had individual styles. You know, Polly was the one that, as a aspiring bowler, you wanted to have the discipline that Sean Pollock had. I mean, he never wavered. His line and length was impeccable. You know, he was always there asking questions of batsmen. So that's sort of who you wanted to aspire to. And I got to spend a little bit of time with Polly, picking his brains and sharing his knowledge. So I was very fortunate for that. But as somebody that at a time in my career, I wanted to be fast. I wanted to be fast and nasty. You know, one of those guys that, you know, could break helmets and, you know, break fingers and things like that. You know, you looked up to Alan Donald as a fast bowler because he was, in his time, he was one of the quickest in the world. Yeah. And, you know, everybody was scared of AD. And that's one thing I'm glad I never got to face him because he was ridiculous. But what a great man off the field. You know, he'd share a six-pack of beer with you any day of the week. And did share some of his knowledge with me as well. So very fortunate there. Those are the two that sort of, you know, of the modern cricketers that I grew up with, I looked at. But being left armer, I always looked up to Wasim Akram, just in awe of what he could do. And I know he was a Lashings player as well. Yeah. And then a guy in South Africa called Stephen Jeffries. I think he played over there for Derbyshire. He played for Western Province, which was effectively became Cape Cobras down the line. And yeah, he was just amazing left-arm bowler. So I sort of like idolized left-arm bowlers, but aspired to have the skills of Polly and the pace of AD, if you will. Yeah. But, I mean, there were so many good fast bowlers. Together.
Wow.
So many good fast bowlers in South Africa. Yeah. Well, the wickets in South Africa.
It's been great having you with us, Charl. It's been brilliant. But before we go, we've checked in with you. You're okay. We're all good. We're going to hand over to Scotty because we're going to do some quick fire questions. We're calling this part "Lock In with Lashings." So, Scotty, you've got some questions there, haven't you?
I've got some questions. We've asked everyone in the squad so far. So, good luck, Charl. Who in the Lashings squad would you least like to spend 12 weeks in isolation with?
12 weeks in isolation.
Don't worry, they will see this.
Let's see. Manoj. No, I'm only joking. I love Manoj, but I've never met somebody that is more in love with cricket. And at times you need to not be talking cricket. So 12 weeks in isolation, all I would be talking would be cricket.
Yeah.
I'll take Manoj as an answer. Love you, Manoj. Right. What are you missing the most about this lockdown? What is when the shop's all open and we all go back to normal? What is the one thing that in the world of Charl Willoughby is going to make it's okay again now?
Yeah, just being able to go to a restaurant and not worry about are you going to pick something up, or are you going to touch something that you then touch your face? And I don't know how this is all going to go back to normal, but not being able to go to a restaurant regularly. Yes, we can get takeaways, but it's at the same dining table every time. Going to restaurants is just it's a nice breakaway from normality. Eating nice food, prepared for you, and just enjoying a bottle of wine with that. Definitely looking forward to that happening again.
That's as soon as we can get a handle on it, that's what the Willoughbys are going to be doing. And okay, so they reckon if you do anything for 30 days, it becomes a habit. We've now had 12 weeks. So what good habits have you learned during lockdown that you've decided you're going to carry through with when we all go back to normal?
Wow, that's a serious question. Good habits. One thing I've sort of found interesting is I haven't put petrol in my car for 3 months, which is a bit bizarre. But at the same time, it does fill your back pocket because you're not spending all that money. So in terms of good habits, I'd prefer not to be going to petrol stations regularly, but at the same time, I need to be going out to see my clients as often as I would. The advantage of the lockdown is it's proven that we can work from home, doing a lot of what we do. The bad side is you don't have the relationship with the people that you work closely with.
Yeah, it's a new world, isn't it? So I know from our perspective, we've obviously next year is going to be a bumper year one way or the other, in that we're going to have last year's or this season's fixtures, as well as clubs that have already committed to next season, and lots of inquiries literally on a daily basis. And so we've got to exactly the same position as you've got to. So much of our time in the winter was spent going to clubs and site visits. We can do that once now, and Zoom has taught us a new way to save the planet.
Save the planet. Less petrol. Less petrol.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a lasting thing, and greeting people. How are you all going to greet? It's that awkward when you see someone and, do we, oh, God, guess what? It'd be nice to go, I hope somebody comes up with something, I don't care what it is. Now the quick fire part, Charl.
Okay.
Stay in or go out. Normal circumstances, everything's back to normal. What would you do? Stay in or go out?
Go out.
Right. Surf or turf?
Turf. I don't like seafood.
Right. Golf or cricket?
Cricket. I'm not better at cricket than golf. Better at cricket than golf.
Or golf with Manoj.
I'd love to see him play golf.
Yeah, I'd like to see that myself. I might caddy for him. Sunglasses or a cap?
Sunglasses.
Hell, I'd have gone cap for you.
No, I like to get a bit of colour in my ball patches. Yeah.
I know. Just my daughter led me over the other day and said, "Daddy, you've got a hole in your hair."
You are looking very silver foxy at the moment, Scott.
I know. I've spent most of the lockdown growing my hair, haven't I? Auto or manual when you're driving?
Well, at the moment I am manual, but at some point, and I was hoping this year to go electric. Then there's, I suppose it is one gear only. So
auto ultimately.
Yeah.
Auto ultimately. Facebook or Twitter?
Neither.
We'd rather not use either.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So old-fashioned way of phone, text messages. Oh, yeah. I envy you.
I don't have either.
You. And the last question, KFC or McDonald's? Unless you're with Herschel Gibbs, in which case it's both.
KFC, not a fan of McDonald's.
KFC over McDonald's.
Even though I represent the brand with my McDonald's there.
The golden arch.
Yeah, prefer KFC.
We got the full story. I knew we'd get it. We got there.
Excellent. Excellent. Charl, listen, I personally have I've missed you. I've missed all the squad, but I've missed you this year because of all the players we tell you, you're always the same. You're always happy. I don't know, always almost vaguely happy to be wherever you are in life. And it's a joy to be around you, as always. I hope you and your family stay well. And, good luck with getting to the restaurant sooner rather than later.
Definitely. Well, I hope we get some sort of cricket this year, for whether it's with Lashings.
Let's hope so. Even if it's later summer, let's hope we can just throw something together.
It might even turn out that we have a game of the players against the staff or something.
Players against Manoj.
just for everyone, because we talk about Manoj. For anyone who doesn't know that's seeing this, Manoj is like our continuous team star for the day / team mascot.
Well, he's our mascot now, yeah.
He's a wonderful, wonderful man. But he's a great friend of all of us. We love him dearly. But that's Manoj. But great seeing you, Carl. I'm surprised Scott didn't say that you were his favourite, but I'm sure you are.
Yeah, you'll say that to everybody. So
it goes without saying, Charles, you're my favourite. You know that. You know that.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, guys. That was Checking In with Charl Willoughby. Thanks very much, and we'll see you soon.